Mass deportations, period. He said that from the gate. Why would you then vote for him?
The coming together to do something about this is called voting, and that happened a couple of months ago on November 5th, and you still decided to walk your Latina ass up in that voting booth and vote for a man that repeatedly told you that he was coming for you to deport you. And at this point, more than anything, I want you to get exactly what you voted for. I want you to feel the powerful consequences of your vote. If they do take your grandma and your grandpa, I want you to know that you did that to them. They got taken away because of you. And for the rest of us as a community, we can never let MAGA voters like her forget how damaging their vote was. We need to constantly remind them. Never let them forget. As far as us getting together to do something about it, I will never in my life trust a Latino for Trump. You're a danger to yourself, you're a danger to your family, and you're a danger to your community. And I want nothing to do with you, and I don't feel sorry for you. I've been getting some comments calling me divisive, saying right now's not the time for finger pointing. We need to work with Latinos for Trump. Latinos for Trump already divided us when they walked into that voting booth on November 5th and made a conscious decision to sell out their family, to sell out their friends, and to sell out their entire community as a whole to ICE. And for what exactly? A pat on the head from the whites? For white proximity? For white validation? I am not the one causing the division, so don't come here and try to gaslight me. I voted to keep their families safe. I'm not the one who voted to have ICE raids on their families. Latinos for Trump are the ones who voted to have ICE raids on their own families and their own friends and their own community. A majority of Latinos foolishly gave your votes to Trump. And how did Trump thank y'all? By making it his very top priority on day one to deport as many of you, as many of us, as he possibly can. He said, get the fuck out. It doesn't matter if you're illegal or not. It doesn't matter if you're a criminal or not. He wants you out because you're not white.
Because I've been thinking a lot about this, and I know it's going to be controversial, but I'm actually rooting for Latinas and Latinos who voted for Trump. I really am. I really hope that they get everything that they voted for, and I hope that they never forget who they voted for. So when they're waving goodbye to their undocumented partner because they got deported back, I want them to remember who they voted for. When their abuelita needs life-saving care, but there is no Medicaid because it's been slashed to the bone, I want them to remember who they voted for. When they watch their nieces and nephews struggle because birthright citizenship is gone and all of a sudden their family isn't welcome, I want them to remember who they voted for. When they have a child with special needs but there's no funding, no resources, no Department of Education, I want them to remember who they voted for. When all of a sudden their family's neighborhood is targeted with more policing instead of community support, I want them to remember who they voted for. When there's no money for your family but a whole bunch for billionaires, I want them to remember who they voted for. When
Remember,
protections vanish and the air is so disgustingly polluted that their kids develop asthma or something similar, I want them to remember who they voted for. When discrimination increases and they are harassed incessantly because they will never be white, I want them to remember who they voted for. Call me petty, but sometimes getting exactly what you voted for is the only way to understand it.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Because remember we had told y'all that it was going to happen. Remember we were telling y'all that they didn't want y'all here, and we did? Remember we were telling y'all that voting for Harris wasn't going to really be in our best interest or protect us? Remember we had told you that it wasn't a selfish decision, but voting for Harris or Biden would have been ensuring that all communities were safer? Remember we had told you, because we were trying to come together. Remember, we was trying to come together, right? And then y'all said, no, fuck y'all. Fuck y'all, little darks. Remember that? You remember that? Surely I wish it hadn't come to this, but I'm finding it hard to find a lick of sympathy for people who disrespected the fuck out of us because we were trying to say, hey, don't let leopards eat your face. But here you go. Okay. Come together my ass.
Oh, and black women, I bet not catch you marching for nobody in the streets these next 4 years unless it's for another black woman. You bet not take that cape off. I know we have a problem with just letting things be. When we see a problem, we got to solve it. We got to help everybody because that's what we have been trained and ingrained to do. Lay down. Rest. Let it burn. Let it go. Stop fighting. Because we put in the work. We've always been on the right side of history. We've been putting in the work since before we were even seen as humans. Let it go. Let it burn. Let them see. Because we've been saying it for years. Let them see. You better go lay down and relax. Let it go. Let it.
Anybody that's not within that circle does not get the opportunity, even if they want it. I'll tell you this. Minorities will work any job if it's available for them. But I remember when they wouldn't give me a job when I was in California because I didn't speak Spanish. They wouldn't rent an apartment to me because I was not Hispanic. I would have to send in a friend to go in and say, hey.
Wow.
I sent in a friend who was Latino who would go in there and then they say, yes, we have apartments available. But when I went in, they said, we don't have any.
Interesting.
And this happened.
You see the prejudice?
Countless
But this
times.
is human nature, right?
It was, even in the college. When I went to, I applied for San Diego State and the community college there in Chula Vista. They gave me a hard time. I had to go to Miramar, where the population was more Caucasian, Asian, to be able to get in, even though I was actually an honor student. Each time they had more barriers to stop me from being able to get in.
But this is human nature,
So they create
right?
that.
This is human nature, how human
Barrier.
nature works. And this is why I'm saying white Americans, black Americans matter because they've been in the country longest. So these other groups that have just come subsequent to the 1964 Immigration Act, they're trying to get their foothold in America. But we, black Americans and white Americans, should be priority because we've been here since the 1600s, since its founding. We should be priority. Yeah, you can get your group thing going, but this is human nature, okay? But it's about heritage. It's about how long we've been in the country, and we are the descendants of the ancestors who's been here since the founding of America. We should not be second rate. We should not be second class citizens because our ancestors paid the price already to help build America. Am I right?
And this is and again, you know, it's sad that we have to go back 100 years to find the leaders, but this is what the black editors and you read what they said, and they said
Is so that they can swap out black people for brown. They believe that they're put there deliberately to take those jobs. Low industry, low skilled jobs that are historically held by African American males. They believe that they're there to displace them so that they don't have economic power so they can be pushed back. Second, they believe that they're there so that they can take control of their community. I hear from leaders in black urban communities that bid you, don't lean right, are saying to me that they're meeting with people and they're seeing these immigrants in their community actually recruiting members to be gang members. Why? Because they want to take control of the community. They believe that there's a plot to make sure that there is no black ownership of businesses, of housing, because they have deliberately planted.
And this has been one of the gripes, and they've been talking about this for a while now, that immigrants are coming over here, starting gangs in black neighborhoods, in black ghettos, selling illegal narcotics, trying to take over the neighborhoods, fighting with blacks, starting wars with blacks. And she was first mentioning it in her first clip. She was just alluding to the fact that she couldn't get an apartment or a job, but the Hispanic could, because they believe that the Hispanic is going to work harder than the black at the job, and for the rent, they believe that the Hispanic is going to pay the rent before a black person would. This is the racism that black people face even in this country. where we were born and raised at, and we're here legally. So she's just because they believe the landlords and the employers know that the Mexicans are illegal. And so if they're not working hard, if they don't do the job correctly, they can be sent back. They're going to be in fear of that. If they don't pay their rent, if they don't keep the apartment up or the house up, they're going to be sent back. They're here illegally. So they know that they can get them to conform before they can get a black person to conform. So they're over here taking the jobs, then they're taking the places to live. You saw the other black woman giving the statistics on home ownership, where Hispanics got 52% of homes or so, and blacks got 42 to 43%. There's a connection to all of it.
All of the illegal immigrants purposely in minority communities to sow discourse. The last thing that I would hate to say, but it's true, is that they believe that the left is deliberately setting up a scenario where there's going to be a racial war not between black and white, but between black and brown. The fact that the majority of the illegal immigrants that you've seen in the last year are actually male, military age individuals. A lot of those individuals have been incarcerated, gang members, all of these situations. That we have a community that the Biden, I call him lock 'em up Joe, right? He didn't just take fathers out of constant states of survival so that they can control. Don't always think because they said, oh, we're going to, give you this great mass immigration that is going to help you. No, they know that that's going to immediately cause chaos in the community. It's immediately cause trauma for families, for individuals trying to figure out who they are and how they build their way up. They did this with that in mind to make sure that these communities never thrive.
Right.
You don't get individuals with policies that's supposed to be a war on poverty where 60 years, there's more of it.
Right.
Poverty won.
So
Right.
it's not the war. I say it's not the war against poverty, it's the war for poverty.
Right.
We need to always be figuring out another way to make sure that if they get 2 steps forward, it's 1 step backwards.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden now,
The war for poverty. It's all about economics, of course. The bottom line, the dollar, the almighty dollar.
you don't have black ownership
A business.
in black communities.
Right.
They own nothing. And what I tell white Americans is, don't worry about it because it's coming to a neighborhood near you.
Yep.
We were the incubators and it worked. And then now they're going to spread it out to everybody. They use the narratives of if you say something or speak up, then somehow you're destroying democracy or you're racist or something
Right.
like that. You know what? I don't worry about what people say to me in words. I want to see results.
Right.
I want to see outcomes. I would rather have a guy sit there and say he don't like me personally. And you know what? It's a lot of people I don't like personally. So what? But at the end of the day, what have you done for me economically lately?
Period.
And the
policies.
answer is
Nothing.
when you look at it, if you look at the
You done
amount
shit.
of mass immigration happening in minority communities, there's a indirect correlation in the amount of crime because
They got here, they had huge problems answering to women in the workplace, especially black women, that they resented that so badly, as does the Latino female community. They resent having to answer to black women. So voting for Trump, their thought process for voting for Trump was to put black women in their place. To put black women in their... place and humble us, they decided to vote for Trump. Well, here's the backlash part of it.
Yep.
How do you feel now?
Put them in their place.
Do you feel we're in our place now?
Do ya? Do ya? Do ya?
Are you too busy running and hiding?
Uh-oh, don't hide.
Backlash.
Don't hide.
Your evil doing that was meant for evil toward the black women, it was done towards you.
Right.
Who's humble now?
Humble yourself.
Oh, we expect to come down the pipe what's coming for us, but who's humble now?
We expect it. We know it's coming.
And the woman also said that we needed to be careful, more careful about who we allow into this country and their mindset. Because we're letting people in this country that has the same mindset as these countries where women have no power, they have no voice, and they should be just suburban servants. Women should be seen and not heard type of environment. And we're letting these people come in, and the first time they're asked who they're going to vote for, the first person to come out their mouth is Trump. So we're allowing them to come over here with their backwards thinking, with their backwards culture, and it's impacting our lives. So they're coming over here for a better life, but they want to ruin ours. Stay where you are with that thinking. Stay where you are. If you have a problem with women, especially black women, having to report to them or having to listen to them, stay where you are.
Stay there.
There are none over there. Why are you here? Why didn't you stay where you were if that's the type of environment you wanted to be involved in? Stay there. Don't come over here. But you want to come over here for the benefits that you get. At the same time, you want to come over here and push black people back. Again, why are we letting them in here? If this is the mindset they bringing in here, why? And this was from one of their own. And if anybody prosperous as other people in this country, the government aid, equal rights opportunity, they came through us.
She's saying it right. She's making sense. She said if you don't like black people, why are you coming over here in the country with black people over here in this country? And she's just explaining that. And she said that this comes from a Latino person, that the Latino men did not vote for Kamala because they can't take instruction from a black woman. And the Latino women feel the same. Can't no black woman tell me nothing. We're better than them. We're better than you. We're closer to white than you are.
They came through our blood. They came through our people being hosed with being set the water hose on. They came from our people being burnt out. They came from us. And because you know nothing about this country and nothing of the true history of this country, you come over here with your mentality where you are from, that women need to answer to you, that women are lower than you. Take your butt back over there. We don't need that over here. We don't need it over here. We have enough things to deal with than stupid male chauvinists. But you know what? It's got you where you are now. So maybe you did the job for us. Maybe you got rid of yourselves for us. But when I keep hearing stories like these and testimonies of people sharing their stories and sharing their voices, I have more and more of a hard time showing any empathy. Why should I when my demise was your agenda? And you come over here with that. Put black women in their place. And it costs you everything. Your hatred for black women cost you everything. And we still here. We still here. We've withdrawn.
Still here.
We stepped back, but we
Step
still
back.
here. Where are you?
Where are you? Oh, man. Good question.
You be sure to have that thought on your way back, okay? Safe travels.
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Yeah, that's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the court? That one is likely to be passed.
Could be. African Americans built this nation. We built this nation.
Damn right.
You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get. You built
We
the
been
nation.
knew it
You
though.
all built it, but you were such a massive part of it, bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right? But through generations of blood, sweat, and tears, and you deserve a government that defends your interests, protects your families, and cares for our own citizens first. My administration is fighting with everyone and all our heart to reverse the pain inflicted by Democrat leaders and to deliver hope and opportunity and prosperity for all Americans, but for African American communities all throughout our land. To come into our country by airplane or charging across the borders from all over the world and think they're going to become citizens. It's not meant for that. It wasn't meant for that. And hopefully at some point the courts will understand that without having to go through a whole big deal. This was meant for the children of slaves. And look at the timing of it and you'll see. And I hope judges will understand that. And it has to stop.
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it.
Kamala, oh, she tricked us. Donald J. Trump. See, she made it seem like she was about to vote for Kamala and then she went to Trump. All a big joke.
When Trump becomes president, he's deporting all of them.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. Cherry blossom kiss. What to give it makes my
All right. That's it, y'all. Latinos are upset. You know, as you can see, black people, a lot of black women are apparently equally as upset. They're responding. They don't want to be gaslighted. They don't want to be shamed into coming out to support anyone. You know, we've been fighting for generations. We've been fighting for everyone. We died for the right to vote, for them to have the right to vote, only for them to take the right to vote and then vote against us, call themselves voting against us, voted against their own interests, but they were trying to vote against us. They know that we wanted Kamala Harris in office. They didn't want her in there. They didn't want her in there specifically because we wanted her in there. And so they said, we're going to vote against y'all black ass. Okay, fine. You do that. Don't then turn around and get on TikTok and start crying and shame us for not coming out and supporting you when you didn't support the vote. You didn't support us with your vote or support yourselves. And you did it specifically because you have a disdain for us, the very people who you expect to come out and give their lives, blood, sweat, and tears to save you. It makes no sense. You learn, you know, hopefully you learned your lesson and you learned it the hard way, that we understand what racism is in this country. When we're telling you that this man is not for you, that do not vote against your own self-interest, next time you'll listen. We know what we're talking about. We've been dealing with this for generations here in this country. You guys haven't. You don't get it. We do. We try to tell you. Black people try to tell you, try to warn you, send you messages, videos, text messages. Hey, vote for Kamala, and this is why. She's for the immigrants. She won't be deporting you, but no. So, I mean, black people are responding and, you know, they're not happy and they don't want to be shamed or gaslighted into supporting you. At the end of the day, it's true. You know, this is not a tick for tack and or a competition, but black people have been fighting on their own for centuries. Black Lives Matter movement, blacks were on their own for the most part. There were some whites in there marching as well, and maybe it was a couple of Hispanics. I don't know. If you go back into the footage, I don't see any, but it may have been a couple. A Hispanic lady said that she didn't see any there. This is not just my words. That's fine. It is what it is. We wasn't crying about it. We wasn't on TikTok saying where are the Hispanics helping us with the Black Lives Matter? Where are the Hispanics helping us with George Floyd and Sandra Bland? We just went on and did our stuff. We're used to not having any support or any help. We're just used to fighting for everyone else. So we just went on business as usual. And now it's your turn. Deal with it. Every action has a reaction. Your action was to vote. His reaction is to deport you. You have to find a way to come together as a community and deal with that and come to the table. If you want our support, you're not going to get it by gaslighting us or trying to shame us into it. Y'all come together first, the Latinos that voted for Trump. Check your own people about what they did. Come to the table and apologize to black people, if anything. Mea culpa. And then, because we're so loving and forgiving, that you have a chance of black people coming out and losing their lives, because people die in these protests. People lose their freedom in these protests. This is not for fun. People got to take off work, all kind of stuff during these protests. Out there walking and sweating and going through all. No, it's not for fun. It's for serious reasons. And we would have had y'all back on this because that's just what we do. But, you did not have our back. You laughed at us and you laughed at black people. This is how black people feel. You heard them. And Hispanics feel the same way. Again, you've heard multiple Latinos say that they voted for Trump due to their anti-blackness and for their desire to be white. That's it. So you made your decision, man. Live with it. Stay safe and stay free, people.